Hey friends, and welcome back to another episode of Market Minutes with Claire. This is your monthly inside look at what's really happening in the Mississippi Gulf Coast real estate market. All right, so I'm navigating the market so that you don't have to, because understanding the market should not be overwhelming. Now, we're diving into the March 2025 data, and I'll be honest, this month brought some shifts that I think both buyers and sellers need to understand. There's a little bit more inventory. Homes are taking a little longer to sell, but the market is still moving. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. I break down the local numbers every month in plain language to help you make smarter real estate decisions, whether you're buying your first home, selling your fifth, or just watching for the right investment. So grab your coffee or your notebook and let's dig in. All right, so let's start with the number one stat that everyone seems to want to know about, and that's home prices. So the average sales price in March was $267,712. Now compared to February's $275 and some change, that's a little dip, but context is key here. Yes, prices trickled down some, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the values are dropping. It could be a shift in the type of home sold. Maybe there were more entry-level properties that closed this month, or there were less luxury activity going on. These fluctuations happen, especially as we head into the spring, which historically brings more movement across all price points. Now, if you compare this to March of last year, we're actually still looking at year-over-year growth, which is what really matters for homeowners and long-term investors. So if you're a seller thinking, did I miss out on the peak? Not necessarily. What we're seeing is a more balanced market and not a falling one. All right, so now let's talk inventory. And this is where it gets really interesting. So we had 830 new listings hit the market in March. That's the highest that we've seen so far this year, and it's a strong sign that sellers are waking up to the spring season and getting their homes ready to go. At the same time, the total homes for sale in the market came in at 2,171. So even with more listings coming in, we're still not seeing a huge oversupply, which is why the overall market hasn't swung into a buyer's market territory just yet. We're holding at 4.2 months of inventory, which is right on the edge of what we call a balanced market. So now what this means is that if no other homes came on the market, we would be completely out of inventory in just over 4 months. And then for reference, 4 to 6 months of inventory is considered a neutral market. If it's under 4 months, you're in a seller's market. And if you're over 6 months, you're in a buyer's market. So we're right at that sweet spot right now where neither side has a major advantage, and that's great news. So that creates a fairer negotiations and more realistic expectations for both buyers and sellers. All right, so next let's talk about activity. Who's buying and are homes actually selling? Well, 497 homes closed in March, which is a nice jump up from February. So that shows us that the buyer confidence is still strong, even as we see changes in pricing and the days on market. And speaking of buyers, they're looking, but they're taking their time. So the average home took 77 days to sell in March. And that's up from 51 in February and 47 in January. It's the highest that we've seen in over a year. Now, this could be a mix of things. Either buyers are being more cautious, there's more inventory, which means that they can shop around, or some sellers may be pricing too high and missing the mark, and it's taken a little longer to bring it back to the market price. So that's going to bring us to another really helpful stat, and that's going to be the average number of showings to get a home to pending, and that is 8.3. So that means it's taking over 8 in-person buying your showings on average before a home gets an accepted offer. So sellers, if your home is on the market and you've had 2 or 3 showings but no bites yet, don't panic. It may just take more eyes and a little more time, before you get an offer. But if you're hitting double-digit showings and still not getting any offers, that's your cue to really evaluate your pricing or your presentation. All right, now let's talk pricing performance. The list to sold price ratio in March was 97.1. So on average, homes sold for just under their asking price. That tells us that serious buyers are still making offers close to asking, but only if the home is priced right from the start. And here's the truth. In this market, the longer your home sits, the more buyers assume there's something wrong with it, even if there isn't. That's why launching with the right price and the right strategy is critical. As a seller, you have a short window to make a strong first impression, and you want to be the home that gets scooped up right after a few showings, not the one that buyers use as a comparison point for why they're offering less on the house down the street. So what does all this mean for you? If you're a seller, here's the deal. The market is still strong, but it's not as forgiving as it was during the crazy highs of 2021 and 2022. Homes are taking longer to sell. Buyers are choosier and pickier, but the homes that are priced right, marketed well, and show beautifully are still getting great offers. So don't wait for the perfect time. Price it right and launch it strong. If you're a buyer, this might actually be your season. There's more homes to choose from. You have a little bit more negotiating room. And with homes sitting longer, you may be able to avoid some bidding wars or multiple offers. But remember, just because homes are sitting doesn't mean that prices are crashing. If you wait too long, it could still cost you more in the long run, especially if interest rates shift or if the demand picks up in spring and summer. So overall, we're looking at a balanced, healthy market right now on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and there's more inventory. Prices are adjusting slightly, and both buyers and sellers are having to be a little bit more strategic. And honestly, that's a good thing. Markets like this are sustainable. They give everyone time to think and make informed decisions and focus on value, not just speed. So, whether you're buying, whether you're selling, or if you're investing, I'm here to help you navigate it all. That wraps up your March 2025 update for the Gulf Coast real estate market. If you found this helpful, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications so that you never miss a market update. If you've got questions or you're thinking about making a move, drop a comment or reach out. I would love to help you map out your next steps. And as always, stay informed, stay ahead, and stay coastal.